On TDK.
He's singing, everybody.
You all, hey, you know what? I gotta stop looking at my phone and look up at you. How about that? You hear me?
You know what, Moan?
That? Yeah.
I got a confession for you today.
It's Monday, DK. You missed confessions yesterday.
No, mine's coming today.
Okay. Oh,
you
Lord.
know, when you first got into the league,
yeah,
I was rooting for you to fail.
Oh.
Yeah, I was. I wanted you to get pancaked every time.
Oh.
Yeah.
DK,
didn't tell anybody that.
You couldn't?
No, but you won me over. And now I'm your biggest fan.
I see where you're going. I see. I was just like, hold on. You're a Pittsburgh writer, man. What are we talking about here, DK? What? So I'm guessing that's what we're going to talk about.
I don't know. We'll see if I like you by the time the intro's done. You know?
Dog, wait a minute. I want to hit the bell, but this is news to me, man.
Yeah. I got a lot to get off my chest here.
I'm gonna let you
all at your expense.
I'm gonna let you get this off. Then I'm gonna hit this bell in about in about 5 seconds. I'm gonna do a countdown just so you dislike me a little bit more, and you got to get rid of 5. You got to take the header off right there, real quick. 4.
Oh yeah.
3. 2. 1.
See, I'm rooting for this show to succeed now. Initially, I thought this show was just, I just wanted it to fail. In all seriousness, Moan, aren't there just some things you don't need to say out loud?
You know what, DK?
It's your show.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
But because I think it's fair for us to have contrasting sides on this one, DK.
All right,
and I love to hear yours. And by the way, friendly reminder that we do have a $1 bet on the season. Just got to continue to throw that out there too, DK.
A membership costs even less than that.
You actually get a penny back.
We got this big jar of pennies.
You get a penny back, man. DK, I'm here for this, man. Let me know your honesty on this, because this,
You first. Your show.
All right. I'm going to be honest with you guys too. And I saw somebody say this, competitor, as somebody that always wants their worth known and showed, I get it. Being today, and I sent this to DK, and of course, everybody's been trading this article. Do we need to reference that first for the folks who don't know?
Well, plain and simple, Ben had Kenny Pickett on his show and told him something that, by the way, he has said publicly before.
He did.
I don't know why it all of a sudden blew up today. Maybe it's because he said it to Kenny, but he just confessed that early on in Kenny's tenure that there was a part of him that was rooting against him because, he was the guy who's following Ben. And, Ben had just gotten done playing, and I guess there's a human instinct to not want to be instantly forgotten. So that was that, And then, it wasn't that. Then he told Kenny how much he loves him and he's supporting him and believes that he's the future of the franchise and everything else.
Yeah, it's a real transparent statement. Conversation by those two guys. And this is the part that kind of gets me. Like, we talked about this about a month or two ago with Seven, right? With Ben. Ben doesn't get the praise, doesn't get the benefit of the doubt at all. And at the end of this, he's like, I'll be super transparent. And he said, I'm going to get blasted for this. And then he proceeded to tell him, like, I probably shouldn't say this, but I mean, who cares? I wouldn't say I wanted Kenny to necessarily fail, but when someone comes in to replace you and you're like, I still feel like I had it, I hope he doesn't come in and ball out. Mic drop. Mic drop, DK.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mic drop and a half. At least to anybody who didn't hear Ben say it before. But
so let me give mine. Let me give mine, DK. And I've alluded to it just slightly on this show numerous times before we went every day. And I've said it in retirement too. When I was out of games, there's a fear of missing out. FOMO is what people call it. Mm-hmm. Nobody, and this chases us all in sports, right? Getting Wally pipped. Why do we talk about Wally Pipp, right? Huh, DK?
Yeah, that's your worst case scenario. You get hurt, you can't do anything about it, and there it goes.
And that's the end of your career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants that, and that chases most athletes when it comes down to their validation on the team. Man, are they going to miss me? Man, are they going to have a better game for me? Are they going to break a rushing record when I'm out? That was one of my things. Are they going to win big if I'm not in the game? Like, I want us to win, but I need the guy in front of me to kind of not have the greatest game because I need them to want me out there. I need my guys to not be out there dapping him up and saying, hey, yeah, we miss you. I know Pounce went through that type of stuff, although he knew he was secure. I went through that type of stuff. I've seen guys that got injured for the season and see the new dude come in and you be like, man, they got a whole lot of bonding with this fella. What about me? Like, that's why I will say this. Coach Tomlin and them do a really good job of making guys come back into the building if they have those types of injuries to where they can be there in meetings. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you do have to get away. But I will say this. I've said this. The guy in front of me that was replacing me in games, game to game, if I missed him, I want you to do all right for the sake of your career. But I don't want you to crush it. I don't want you to be the talk of the conversation, talk of the town. And I even said this too with the number 2, DK. I'm going to get there. I even said this with the number. I'm okay with a defensive guy getting my number after I'm done. Because in my mind, even if it's not true, in my mind, I was thinking, at least they didn't give it to an offensive lineman. Now, there's a gap between the defensive lineman that had my number and now Isaac Samalo. I'm okay with it now. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it don't mean nothing, but it does in that human element of don't forget about me.
Yeah, there's nothing that you say that I actually could disagree with because you've been in the position. I haven't.
Fair.
Okay. So I'm going to set all of that aside and say that the difference, the glaring difference there, at least to the first part that you mentioned, is that, Ben's retired.
Yeah. So
Ben's not losing his job to anybody. Ben was a starter from the day he took the ball from Tommy Maddox to the day that he was, running down a tunnel in Baltimore. Okay. Yeah. Well, actually the playoff game.
January 2022, right?
Yeah. So he was a starter the whole way. He was never threatened in that capacity in one way or another. Al says, I'm good with it. I really find it to be a non-issue and non-news. Don't say that. When everybody's talking about it, don't say it's a non-issue and non-news.
It's a light issue here.
If it's what happens, Al, okay, and I'm going to throw you on the couch here, okay? What happens, Al, is that it's a subject that makes you uncomfortable. So what you wish is that it would just go away. Therefore, you declare it non-news. It's ridiculous to call it non-news. Okay?
Right.
The previous franchise quarterback just sat there at a desk and said that to the current franchise quarterback.
Right.
That is absolutely news. My issue with it, my issue with Ben, okay.
Come on with it.
This requires some context.
Okay.
We've seen Ben grow up.
Yeah.
You and I have given Ben immense credit for growing up.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of us in the best possible spirit. Okay. And what the problem that I have here is that this felt like a lapse to me. You don't have to say everything.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
If you seen Jim Carrey's Liar Liar? Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, when he, you don't say everything, you'll get thrown in jail.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
There are things that go through all of our minds every single day that we don't say. Yes. For a lot of very obvious reasons. Okay. And this just felt like you've got him on the show, and this felt more like it was about Ben than it was about the guest on the show, And that's, I guess maybe I'm looking at it more from the reporter standpoint or the person who's done TV, radio, and whatever, podcasting and videos and everything else here. I'm thinking, I've got this guy on my show. The last thing I'm going to do is put him on the spot with something that's 100% about me.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. That makes perfect sense. But this is what I've learned even in doing this with you guys. All of you who are in here right now. By the way, hit that like button, subscribe, get a membership if you're feeling froggy today, man. Whatever it takes, 99 cents. We're here for this. I'll say this, DK, and doing this show daily for me, it has become a sense of with some of the topics we talk about. It's almost therapy.
I'm not going to argue that.
It's almost there. You've come in here and said,
I have come in some bad moods and left in some good moods.
You feel me?
Yes.
And when guys talk and they get that feeling of being unlocked, right? Like that's one thing I've seen with former athletes talking to other former athletes or people they trust. You can get them to breathe a little bit. Then they start talking like them and start saying some stuff. It's like, oh, I didn't know you were going to tell me that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'll say this. I think Ben felt comfortable enough and probably is in a better space to be able to say that too. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, that wasn't about you. It wasn't about you right now. But to be comfortable enough to tell that guy, like, I did used to feel this way. But now, man, I'm rooting like hell for you. Like, I'm here to watch you grow. Like, whatever you want to do that. And maybe it was conversation with his wife, like watching his kids, realizing that, man, that was just football. That ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Like Pittsburgh that's not who I am. Like I'm a dad now. I'm a father now. Like I'm a regular old Joe now. You know what I'm saying? And I think being able to do that probably is the reason he said it. Like guys do grow in retirement. To me, I think that makes for a better retired person when they can say those transparent things like that in retirement, DK. Like it makes them a better citizen being able to say that. I don't think nobody wants anybody to walk in crushing all their records like day one.
Yeah, no, nobody does. And again, I'm look, as a reporter, we're always appreciating honesty.
I know.
Okay. And if I'm interviewing Ben and he gives me that, I am dancing on air walking out of that room. I am the happiest reporter on earth because I'm the one that's going to have this great big exclusive and everything else here. So I'm not being a hypocrite about that component to it. I'm saying that in this environment, you bring him on as your guest.
Yeah.
And then you drop that on him.
I'm on the other side of the train tracks on this one.
I hear you.
And not even because it's him. Like I've seen other guys kind of say stuff like that too, or had conversations. Like I'm gonna be real. There's some guys I know that went on injury reserve and was just like, man, how y'all liking? I was like, you know what? It ain't you. You know what I'm saying? Like offensive and defensive players, and you ought to see that smirk on their face. Be like, yeah, I still have value. Like they still love and enjoy me. Like it really is in a sport. Okay, a business. Let's call it a business now. The NFL, in a business where you have a short career, in the business where you're a number, literally, figuratively, from 1 year to the next, depending on if you make the team, to where you don't have guaranteed contracts. Like, yeah, you make a whole lot of money, but like the idea that you break down, your body's thrown on the line, and then a year after you, when you're done, your number's gone. Like, there is a bunch of ego and a sense of just validation that you're always seeking. I think inside of the NFL, almost more than other sports. Now, baseball may be different. Hockey may be different. I know basketball probably don't feel this way because it's smaller numbers. And if you're in for a long time. Football is such a turn over type of sport and business that those selfish anecdotes kind of come out a little bit, DK.
Yeah, I get that. And I think in a locker room setting, I think it would have been the greatest, healthiest, most cathartic conversation to have. I'm just going to get back to this podcast thing. You bring him in.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny, you want to come on my show so I can have a cathartic experience? Something I need to do some soul cleansing. You want to come on in here and be my guest so that I can do that? You know, here's the thing.
Okay, I'm here for it.
If you watch the whole show,
yeah.
Really, really good football stuff on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, to me, it was like the stuff that when he asked Kenny, you know, what do you do when you're, fourth down at the goal line, whatever, you know, what is it that you want to do? And Kenny said, just, let me move with it. Let me move. I'll get it in.
Yeah.
Okay? That is really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what I'm thinking. It's look, here's the one thing we know that it's not. It's not non-news.
No, It's not.
Okay. It is
not.
most definitely not non-news. We're going to take our little break here. And when we come back, we're going to have we're not shutting off the conversation, by the way. The rest of this is run by you guys. Okay. And by the way, this non-news thing is blowing up our comments.
Yes, it is.
When we come back, it'll be the only segment that matters.
And that's all of Hey Mon.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
It's so funny. Tomorrow is OTAs, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're gonna get after the practice our first access to Kenny and to other guys in a while. And what are we going to be talking about? I mean, you can't. It's now the elephant in the room. You know.
It is, but
to an extent, it's not a
no. It
controversy.
is. No, it is. No, 100% it is. Kenny's main conversation from everybody that can talk to him tomorrow will be about this. And I think the fact they were still able to sit down and talk about it, DK, I think it was good. I didn't think it was disrespectful. Like, I just thought you had a guy that was an older guy, and honestly, just maybe a warning to Kenny, like down the line, when it's your turn to pass the baton over, if he gets to that point. Like, Ben to me seems like an asset to a guy like Kenny moving forward. Because Pittsburgh is a hard city. Pittsburgh is a demanding city when it comes down to their sports, right? Mm-hmm. And having a guy that's gone through every little hoop and ups and downs and insides out of the business, like, I think it's fair to be on his side and be able to have those hard conversations too. Like, it can be uncomfortable, but if you're right-minded, like, it was all right to me.
I hear you. I'm like I said, I'm from your standpoint, the standpoint of an 11-year teammate and everything else, I am in zero position to argue with you. I know my place here. Ryan Lytle says, "Hey Moan, did you ever take criticism from other linemen or players personally, or feel that it wasn't warranted?" That obviously has nothing to do with the Ben thing. Did you ever get criticized by, whether it was Marquise or Dave or earlier in your career, Willie?
You know what? Never as a pro, because there's a different respect as a pro. I had a guy actually come up to me and apologize to me. It was in college. It was an older dude. Probably I didn't even play with him. He was in the league at this time, and as of recently, man, he came up to me when I was in Knoxville, and he said, "Man, I need to apologize to you." I was like, "For what? You always been dope to me. Like, you've been cool." He said, "Man, I'm going to be real with you. I didn't know what you was going to be or how you was going to play or what y'all was going to be like at a team." He's like, "But y'all held it down. Y'all won. Y'all kept this legacy going." It's like, and truth be told, you had one hell of an NFL career, man. He's like, "I didn't know what I didn't know at the time." And I had that conversation because that was like a national championship regime before me. And we didn't win the national championship. So, of course, their echelon of what they were, like, was way different than how they judged us and what we looked like. And he came up and actually apologized and was like, "Man, I was wrong." He's like, "You absolutely killed it." And didn't even play my position. He didn't even play O-line.
That's really cool.
I have had that happen before, and it didn't. At the time, I was like, "Dog, I don't blame you. I get it. We weren't like y'all. We didn't win that national championship, and like, our coach got fired in college and stuff like that my senior year. So I get that, dog." I was like, "I appreciate you telling me that." Anytime I've ever taken something personal like that, or somebody go at you in that type of sense, was maybe a coach. That was the only time I ever took something personal, was from a coach that had something to say like that.
Austin Tardif comes in and says, "Could Corey Trice Jr. make the switch to coverage linebacker?" For anybody who doesn't know, Corey Trice Jr. is the 7th-round pick. He's a 6'3" corner.
Yeah.
Out of Purdue, who really shouldn't have fallen the way he did. He has some both ankle and knee injuries in college, actually in high school as well, that put up some red flags on him. Could he make the switch to coverage linebacker? Moan, I can tell you this from having met the young man at rookie camp a couple of weeks ago.
No,
He's-
that's what I was going to say.
He'd have to eat a lot of cheeseburgers, man. I mean, that's not to say that he can't bring somebody down on a tackle and anything else here, but that would be a project to do that. Don't just presume because he's 6'3" that he can play linebacker.
That's what I was just going to say. Sometimes those dudes play those positions because, one, they're athletic enough to do that, and not everybody want to convert a position, especially going from the secondary to a very physical linebacking position. I'm not sure if it was many. Marcus Allen, even him, like he did it, but I don't really think Marcus Allen was a willing participant to play inside of the box for this Steelers defense, DK. Like It sounds good, but I personally don't think it's a serious conversation when you're having a guy switch a position immediately like that. Like they need to have some college experience doing that, because as a pro, we will eat that dude up. Put him in the box if you want to. Mm-hmm.
Mark Lancaster asks, hey, Moan, have you ever thought about hooking up with Uncle Mike on the scouting side of football? Your ability to break down talent on both sides of the ball is pretty good.
Man, it's from years of playing ball. Being able to hook up with somebody to break it down like that, they probably get tired of me because I'm going to rewind the film 50 million times and look at this guy, that guy, what they should be doing. But no, I'm here with you guys, Mark. Like, let me do this with y'all, and we'll break down games and OTA practices.
Who's Uncle Mike?
I'm guessing Uncle Ike Taylor. I think he retyped it and said Tyke.
Okay,
yeah, here it is right here, DK.
I should have figured that out here. Uncle Ike, yeah.
Ike Taylor, yeah.
All I'll say is that between Ike Taylor and Merrill Hodge, both of whom are now in the Steelers' employ as scouts, I want to stress on their behalf and on behalf of that entire profession that there's a lot that goes into scouting, okay?
Yeah.
Respectfully, Moan, that goes way beyond playing. The amount of studying that they have to do on tendencies, on trends, the amount of footage that has to be watched. Whereas when you guys are playing, what footage are you studying?
Us.
It's yourself, how you're doing, and your opponent for that week.
Opponent. Yep, absolutely.
Scouting is another level entirely of doing that. Sticky B says, hey, Moan, how long does a draft chip stay with a player? I feel like Porter and Trice are both coming in with one, and I'm just curious how long that fuels the fire. Sticky B, you've come to the right person for this one.
For the longevity of your career, Sticky B. It really ain't no other way around it, man. Like, no matter how much you get paid, how long you play, you never forget that sting of not going where you're supposed to go or the respect you think you're due at all times. The moment a player loses that is the moment it's time to retire or Father Time just gets you. It kept, DK will tell you, how later in my career was I talking about beating off young guys or this dude on my heels and stuff like that? And
still,
truthfully, they weren't. Heck, we just talked about that with the Ben conversation, right?
Yeah.
It never really leaves you. That chip, man, if you're a very talented dude and can carry that without going too insane, you'll be good to go as a pro.
No, there's it's something that I loved. I've actually shared this story with Moan. I'm going to share it with you. It's the most emotional I've ever seen anybody on this subject. When Patrick Hornquist of the Penguins, and Moan's heard this story.
Yeah, I have.
He was the dead last pick in the NHL draft by the Nashville Predators. And he scores the Stanley Cup winning goal for the Penguins in 2017 in the final 2 minutes, like one of the great moments in Pittsburgh sports history. And he's standing off to the side afterward on the ice of celebration, him and his family, and I walk up to them, and he's still looking up at the rafters. And I say, what are you doing, Horny? What are you doing? And he said, this was where nobody believed in me. This building right here. This was where nobody. And I'm thinking, dude, it's been years. You just won the cup. Let it go. You know?
Yeah. Don't matter, do it, DK. It don't matter. Like, I'll say this as far as JPJ goes, right? If that's his nickname, we're going to give him JPJ.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look at that conversation his pops had with him on that draft night when he wasn't selected in the first round. That speech is going to carry with him.
Yes, it will.
If you wonder,
the first thing that Joey Sr. thought of. That was the first thing. He's oh, good. Here, you've got fuel.
Good. Now you got fuel.
I love it. Jacob says, do you think that Ben is truly a fan of Kenny? I'd like to think he meant it, but I still wonder if he would drop some wisdom if Kenny needed it for the sake of the black and gold.
Yeah, I think he truly is. You can't have that type of conversation with somebody and not be a fan of theirs now. Like people that do that, like it would have been very condescending more than anything. I think Ben exposing himself to him as far as those statements, you become a fan of a dude in that situation. A person with spite can't say that. They're not at a place of saying that.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, certainly not publicly. Ben can't go back on, all the stuff that he said.
I saw that. Let me go back to that. I mean, you still
one?
have it. Ben was cheering against it. I actually started that one to address it too.
I found it. It's right here from Boomer.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Ben was cheering against the Steelers. His comment just seemed a little bit selfish / immature.
Nah. I don't think you can cheer against the team. I've never, even if I knew that the Steelers were up against it, gonna lose a game, I never cheered against them. Again, Ben was talking about the person and I guess the legacy of his, right? Not necessarily just wanting the team to lose. Like you can want the team to win and Kenny only have 100 yards passing, get sacked 3 times and fumble the ball once. You see what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't necessarily I want the Steelers to lose. It was don't forget about me. Y'all let me know if I sound like I'm making an excuse for him, but because I feel
you're still blocking for Ben is what I'm thinking.
I'm not, DK. Like I legitimately
you still got his blind side over there at left guard.
It's such a fair thing to say.
I think it's a fair thing to think. I think I've seen a bunch of people here in comments saying repeatedly that, well, he's just saying the truth. I'm going to say it again here, okay? I could give some ugly examples here,
I'm
okay?
Sure. I'm sure.
But when you're walking down the street and you see somebody who's attractive, do you stop and tell them why you find them attractive?
It's true. So let me pull this one up. Mom, Kenny isn't still a LOL. Boomer, I'm going to sit back on this one, DK, and talk for a minute, okay? Just for like 10 seconds. Boomer. Don't sit on here on this app, okay, and act like you don't yell at the TV and say, he's a bomb. Replace him. He sucks. Guess what? That guy you say is a bomb and suck. He's a Steeler too, okay? Don't even act higher than thou right now, man. Don't do that.
Yeah. Here Ash says, that's not the same, DK. It is. You're on the show with the guy. You don't have to say everything that you're thinking.
Yeah.
It absolutely is the same here. Hodge says, Chase what is this all about?
He wants party music, party. Oh, during practice. Well, he's no longer a Steeler right now. So
yeah, why do we care about Chase Claypool now? He got you Joey Porter Jr.
He did get you JPJ. Is that what we're going with now, JPJ? I feel like it's starting to catch with me.
It sounds like you are, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's sticking with me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I can do all that here. Oh, Anthony. Oh, Andrew. Geez. Yeah, thanks. 333 chefs. Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Moan, at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, quality is at the core of every menu item. I believe I've shared this with you once or twice before. They have 3 expert chefs, as Andrew points out, and they fine-tune every detail so that every sub, burger, salad, wrap, drink, and app is crafted for craveability. Order your favorite entry at the Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it.
Yeah. We're there now.
Tristan says, DK, I don't tell everybody who's attractive that I think that they are. Well, this is a good thing for you, Tristan. this will probably save you a lot of slaps and so forth. But there are moments where I absolutely tell them that I think that they're attractive.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay.
What we got, DK? Where you headed, man?
I mean, I don't believe that. I don't believe you could just randomly walk down the street and say whatever here. Brian says, okay, are you rooting for Matt Canada to do well? I'm a reporter. I don't root in one direction or the other. That was an easy one here.
You report. I do got to go to this and say, well, we'll talk about ours, man. Michael Martin bring up a good point. This is what you're saying, right, DK? Mm-hmm. This is where you have been at.
Absolutely.
Michael Martin says he doesn't come with a hey moment, but he comes with I do think it sucks that out of 2 hours of good content and laughs, people found one sentence to interpret in the negative light and just blow that up. That's fair.
Yep.
great conversation between two franchise quarterbacks right now. And I'll say this too, DK, you know how 7 is when it comes to young quarterbacks. The fact that Ben is even having that conversation.
Yes. Boy, am I glad this came up. Because
Go ahead.
Well, you're not the only one to make reference to Mason Rudolph, which I think you just kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you saw the relationship between the two of them, such as it was. Okay. And I think we can agree here without spilling all the beans that wasn't really a Mason thing. Okay.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Mason is Mason with everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did Mason do wrong? Mason got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. That was Mason's crime against humanity here. Mason's a pretty agreeable young man. So I feel like this whole thing kind of shows you and explains to anybody who didn't understand the Mason thing. It makes it a little bit clearer. Ben has to be the guy.
Yes, 100%. But this also, I'll say this in Mason's defense about all of that. Mason was also at a disadvantage on getting drafted too. Okay. By like the conversation around Mason from the time that he got drafted was we had a first round pick grade on Mason Rudolph. Mason, of course, got snake bitten because of the conversation around where he was selected and what the Steelers draft room thought about him, right?
Right.
And Ben took that probably as whatever you want to call it and said, oh.
Most quarterbacks do, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not something that's handled well. Aaron Rodgers handled it worse than anybody.
I know. I mean, before him, Brett Favre did, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, it's a Green Bay lineage of this sort of thing.
Legitimately, y'all picked this fool in front of me?
Really?
I mean, to replace me?
Come in and beat me? Is that what you think?
Is that what you think? So, of course, even like guys, like athletes are weird, especially pro ones, the ones that take it serious, even your street ballers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they look at a Tiger. Look at Tiger Woods' mindset with folks. He just stare at them and they crumble, right? Because that's how you wired at a time. And I'd love to see those two kind of get together, Mason and Ben, and do something. Now he's back in Pittsburgh too, because I think it's okay to kind of hash out. And that honestly, DK, would be good explanation. That'd be good content right there.
Mm-hmm. Chandler Chase points out here, hey, Moan, seems like we got another great wide receiver this offseason under everybody's radar with Hakeem Butler. I will say that the Hakeem Butler highlights are through the roof. They really are.
Yeah, USFL, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, USFL.
Now, I understand what the competition is, but I also understand it's still one human and one football, you know?
Yeah. But exactly. And I'll say this, if you're going to get players from the USFL or XFL also, then they need to be doing what Hakeem Butler doing, and that's putting everybody on display. He did that. You get an opportunity, and Omar said they were going to explore those types of things, right, DK? Like, that is essentially the secondary league to the NFL. So there it is. I just start that one, and I saw James Lewis say that one too, DK. Dobbs not better than Mason. And so then we have that comment right there. And
that Ben wasn't threatened by Dobbs because
Ben didn't hate Dobbs.
Was good enough. Yeah,
Dobbs was better than Mason, period. Well, Dobbs also walked in playing a role too. He came in peacefully. Mason came in
to start.
Which
is what you're supposed to do.
Especially as a second rounder.
Yeah, well, he was third, but yeah, I mean, but he was, that's still, there's a lot there.
Yeah, man. So that'll be fascinating. James Lawson, we do need that Mason story. That was a big conversation in the city of Pittsburgh and through Steeler Nation. That Ben and Mason storyline. I think Mason is y'all. I hate that Mason's hated like that. I do. One, he was my locker mate, so unnaturally I'm gonna take up for him. Mason is a phenomenal dude. Like, we're not even talking about football player. He's a solid friggin' dude, man. I just got to drop that because I think that's unfair because of how it's depicted in the media.
Let's see what else we got here today. Here, and
his podcast suggests that you don't want him to just be quiet and be quiet. Like that's not it. Everybody has.
See, this one says here, this is just another Pittsburgh sports hack media manufactured story. How does this happen, Moan? What media people were in that room with Ben when they recorded?
Nobody.
What media person asked the question to get? This is insanity. when you listen to this show, first of all, if you watch the social media reaction to it, okay, it didn't get started by media. The first people to pick up on it were bloggers and others on social. Okay, that's it. Because they're
fans of it.
Right. They're the fastest. They're watching it. Trust me when I tell you, reporters aren't sitting there going, boy, I wonder what they're going to say today. We actually have work to do. Okay. So somebody's going to sit there and go, the media doesn't do anything with this other than react to the reaction. And the reaction was on you. Okay, which is there's nothing wrong with it. It's a story. Stop pretending it's not a story. That's so bizarre. Media folks watch podcasts too. No, we actually don't do that.
A lot of the work going on, man.
Yeah, there's bloggers and so forth to do that stuff. And if somebody's you think I'm gonna waste 2 hours of my day, with all due respect, watching other people's podcasts? No, man, I got work to do. I was at a ball game yesterday.
Yeah, there are two different sides to that. Like everybody with a website, I consider, y'all hear me joke about this, but DK is a big J journalist. There is actual work that he does to get information to us. Me personally, I'm a small J journalist, okay? I watch podcasts. I listen to stuff like that. I'm glad y'all follow us. There is a separation of the two right there. I do have to back you up on that one, DK.
Now, I thought the most interesting thing that came up from the show was by far Kenny's talking about the little hands thing. That teams actually completely crossed him off their list because he didn't have 9-inch hands.
I hope he beats them all.
That's stunning to me. I mean, I know that there are teams that have hard lines on certain positions, but my goodness, really?
They do, DK, and that's trash by them. I hope they all lose. I hope they all lose to Kenny.
Yeah. This is a good time. Excuse me. Hiccups.
Oh, man, you growing
to
still?
Remind everybody that you can hear you read it so I can get rid of my hiccups.
I mean, to get to unlock the Remojis, okay? And if you don't know what they are, if you become a member and pay the 99 cents a month, that's less than $1. Yes, that's 1 cent, but it still is, okay? You get an opportunity to get these emojis that I'm going to post. You get perks as far as being a member. And honestly, you get to sit at the uncle table. You feel me? Or you get away from the bad uncle table. You get to come over there and fix a plate and get a drink and have a good time with us. That's what we're telling you. Right, DK?
Absolutely.
Click that link on the screen right now.
Yeah, it's dkps.net/join. We've made it easier than ever to do this. We're going to take a couple more today here. See what else we got here, Moan.
Yeah.
Here's one. I've been saving this one for you. I Own Infinite says, hey, Moan, do you think Chuks Okorafor will be the weakest link now on our offensive line?
Nah. Whoever's at left, whether that be Broderick or whether that be Dan Moore, either one. Just because if it's Dan Moore, I'm not putting Dan Moore over Chuks athletically and professionally. And if it's Broderick Jones, then he's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
Nah, Chuks being a weak link, it doesn't cross my mind when it comes down to his play. I got to go back and look at his stat line and see what his penalties and pressures and stuff like that was as far as Chuks went.
Yeah, Chuks will have his occasional lapses. He'll have some that are just doozies, and they'll really stand out in your mind when they happen. The other thing that Chuks has going against him as far as the public is concerned, he's been here the longest.
You know how that goes. You know how that goes, so right?
You recall somewhere in your C drive up there that you yelled at Chuks once or twice.
Yeah.
Therefore, Chuks is bad.
Chuks, right, exactly. I got a good one for us, DK. This is a good one, man. It's from Tyler. I don't even want to say the long name. I don't even want to say the last name because I don't know what it's supposed to mean, DK. But he comes with a emojis and everything. He goes, let me back up. Hey, Mo.
The Swiss Alps.
I love that, man. What is the one thing you cherish most about training camp in Latrobe? Beautiful question. He's got the Hey Mom emoji, man. The pure football side of camp, period. I hated the physicality side of it, but to do football and meetings and be around your teammates and just having a good time with them, DK, nothing better. It's pure football. Being able to look out at you guys being at the field and be like, man, I got to go put in work today. Hate it. I'm going to be honest. Hate it because nobody likes practice. But knowing at the end of the day, you're building something up. And I'll probably say this. After like week 3 there, you start to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's when it really gets fun, when those preseason games start to kick in. You know what I mean by that, because I saw you smirk right there, DK.
Yeah.
But after that 3rd week, things start to kind of open up a little bit.
Yeah, the whole every day is Tuesday thing, I can tell, starts really wearing on you guys. My favorite thing in Latrobe, and this actually no longer applies post-pandemic, was they used to have us park at the very top of the hill, where you guys would drive down.
Uh-huh.
Well, we don't do that now. We park now down by the Mr. Rogers Center.
Okay.
That's down at
the roundabout down there.
Exactly. But we used to park way up top. So when we would actually have to go down that hill to make our entrance to the oh, what a sight. Yeah. I mean, the scenery, the everything is just, there's nothing like it, Mona. And right at the beginning of camp, you're reminded of everything that's beautiful about football in a single fell swoop here. Jeff says, hey, Moan, can you tell based on off-season programs how quickly the offensive line is going to gel? That's interesting. If you were here at OTAs tomorrow, would you be able to look? I mean, they're not going to be able to gel tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow. This is like
these are glorified walkthroughs.
Well, you say that except for the O-line and D-line. Within reason. Let me protect the Steelers here by saying within reason. There's a lot of pushing and shoving and attitude still that comes along with it. If there's a particular guy that wears number 97 that's still out there giving out work, okay, and he pushes Isaac or he pushes Mason's a little bit too far, or the young guy decide that he want to get his rocks off against a vet or something like that, and you see that group kind of swell up together, that's when you know you own to something. Those little scattish fights that you have in OTAs, they happen every once in a while. That's when you know. Now, and then of course how tight they are together. Like watching them when they're not working the special teams on the field is every single one of them in a group with one another on the knee. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And how they also how they work with the young man, how everybody interacts with Broderick Jones. And that includes, by the way, Dan Moore. And it includes how is Kevin Dotson going to be working and learning from Isaac Seumalo. These are now relationships that those two in particular have not had to manage. They've not had to do that. They were the guys last year at their positions. They are no longer those guys. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, see how you want, like you said, Moan, you want to see how everybody gets on. But for me, it's especially interesting at the very beginning. What are you doing to bring this extraordinary young man into the fold? You know what I'm saying?
There has to be an open arms concept. And I think that's where it's going to be with this group, man. If we see that, DK, then you absolutely got something for sure.
We have apparently there's a whole lot of gift buying going on here that I'm kind of missing out on here, including our man Bink the Batusai, who's been all over this today. He wants to remind everyone that you have to hit allow gifts so that you get the gifted memberships. You can't; they don't just automatically fly into your account.
No, they don't. They don't. Absolutely not at all. Man, receive gifts. That's awesome. It's not even Christmas, man.
Well,
Thank you, Ryan.
There's a mission at hand here to abandon the uncle table here. Our last word, our second to last word for today comes from Tycho, who says that Omar Khan brought in veteran leadership and competition this offseason. I am a fan.
I'm a fan of that too. To be competitive, you got to have a uber talented team. Like more than anything, like the veteran side of it, yes, it's very understandable. But to be able to have talent mixed into that, that's where you at. Like it's uncomfortable watching this team being unsteady, win loss, just to get above 500. I think it was very strategic in how they went about it. I'm a fan of it.
Our last, for real, question for the day comes from Mike Drop Sports, who says, hey, Moan, what will be the most important thing that the team will or is trying to gain from OTAs? Is this more about playbook work or study portion of the offseason? What is it that you're trying to get done, especially in the early, because there are 3 different phases of OTAs?
Contributions from the young guys. Screw what the older dudes is doing for the most part. If they got to drop whatever, really, DK, right? Where are the young guys? Like my year 1 to year 2 guys, where are they at today? I need to see them. I need to see them healthy. I need to see they condition and work their bodies this offseason. And then, of course, the rookies too. Were we right on what we saw? I need to be able to see that in this pro element. And yes, there's going to be anxiety. And yes, they're going to be nervous. But I need to be able to see JPJ mirror somebody. Give me 1 or 2 breakups in practice, right, DK? Let me see Broderick Jones get to the edge a little bit, all right?
Let's see Darnell Washington just exist. Let's just see him stand there.
Come on, man. Like that's – and as one guy, I'm going to charge again, DK, because I think it's fair that we continually play this game. Well, 2 people because they work hand in hand, by the way. Shout out to that guy Marvin Wallace Sr. again, man.
Marvin is just constantly sending missives over because he's become chairman of the Uncle Table and he refuses to leave.
As a matter of fact, I'm not even waiting to put the glasses on right now. Okay, Marvin, you too cool for me, man. You blinding me out here. I got to put these on now, dog. What are we doing, Marvin? My brother, thank you. I'll say this though, right? Two dudes that are married together, and as it stands, and that's Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. They're gonna get some backed ups. They're gonna get some 2-minute drills. They're gonna get some end of the half drills, right? DK, tight red zones. How are they with Kenny's development in this year too? I don't know how much you report on DK. I never really knew that, right? As far as reports and stuff. How much are they going to allow Kenny go down the field, no huddle that thing, and just let it rip, as he said on Ben's podcast, right? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, the answer to your question is the reporting is extremely limited from these events, just like it is in the regular season. Anything that happens on a practice field, we have to walk up to one of you players afterward and say, hey, that thing that we saw, did we actually see it?
I learned that.
And you can either be the guy who says, I don't know what you're talking about, or you can be the one who says, yes, you actually did see that. And so was, in fact, taking first-team reps.
Yep. You can't report on it unless I tell you so, DK.
That's it. That's exactly how it goes. So to Marvin Wallace, to everyone who bought subscriptions, bought memberships. Boy, all this terminology.
I know, right?
It's appreciated, to say the least.
It is. It's much appreciated. By the way, I see one from a non-member, man, at the Bad Uncle Table. It's like, come on, man. Let's not go that route. No, on the JPJ, I actually like it. It sounds like JPP. That does not sound the same, Brian. No, go back to the Uncle Table.
Yeah, and we're going to have Marvin take care of you over there.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Get out of here.
You see now, Robert Bridges is saying, thank Uncle Marvin.
That's
Thanks, Uncle Marvin.
I
love it, man.
I'll be at OTAs tomorrow. Looking forward to sharing with you the observations that I've got from out there. Looking forward to having another one of these again tomorrow, Moan.
No doubt about it, man. We'll see who else does a podcast, DK.
Yeah, right.
Let's see if I can get a comment from my guy 7 on top of it. How about that?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
What if I actually do have one already, man? Interesting.
Well, we'll find out after we say goodbye to everybody.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Is that fair? Is
yes.
that good?
You had to find some way to one-up it, right?
I had to one-up it. I couldn't finish the show with sunglasses on, okay, and not double up on the sunglasses, DK. That's what we're doing here.
Now, by the way, since you guys hung around after the outro here, there are people who get legitimately disturbed when Ramon and I disagree on something. Because I think they're used to watching like political TV, that when the people who disagree with each other like legitimately hate each other and can never get along. Yeah. And they come on with their talking points. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And they can't possibly see eye to eye on anything. We're just talking football here.
By the way, I'm going to go ahead and give you that nugget. There's a new news cycle tomorrow. I told Ben I felt the same way he did. He was like, man, had a few guys text him the same exact thing. And he's like, I believe any competitor feels that way. If you're a competitor,
which is what you said at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I said that. I would show you the text message, but there's other stuff. But yeah, any competitor feels the exact same way. And It's just is what it is, man. New news cycle tomorrow, DK.
Yeah, see, that's what happens. You guys hang around past the outro and you get input from Ben Roethlisberger just like that.
Go.
You know, what do you know, huh?
I mean, and you get 4 eyes.
Yeah, or whatever that is.
Got eyes in my forehead now. Yeah. I love it, DK.
All right,
Y'all
guys,
be good, man. Happy Monday.
Let's do it tomorrow.
No doubt.